Did you stay up late for someone to see? Well, you're not getting Santa, you're getting me.
New year, new toys to talk about. Well, okay, not a whole lot of new toys to talk about, but enough. Because I'm Robo, this here's the rewind. Little itty bitty teeny tiny correction for last week's Hiya Toys Exquisite Super Series Judge Dredd Judge Fear announcement. Oh yeah, big surprise, I screwed something up. But in my defense, that announcement was made as I was walking out of the house to come out here to record this. So I ran back into the house and searched real quick for Judge Fear, found pictures from a few years ago and went, okay, here's this, what it looked like, come out here. Without bringing the pictures or anything, working from memory. And yeah, I should know better by now. I just saw the color differences, came here, ramble. Then a couple of comments said, no, that is the 1/18th scale Judge Dredd, which made me wonder, who the hell you think you're talking to? Do you seriously think I would have 1/18th scale figure pictures just wandering around making themselves at home in my rewind/weekly folders? Me, Robo, the champion of a certain scale that's not too big, not too small, it's just right. Are you accusing me of, well, okay, yeah, that is the 1/18th scale version, isn't it? Going back to episode 242 of the Fwoosh Weekly from back in January of 22, I did talk about the Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Judge Dredd, Judge Fear, but only as a way to ease into their announcement that they were going to do 1/12th scale Judge Dredd figures, which they had no pictures of at the time. More of a, this is what the smaller figures look like. Could the larger figures be similar? And now 3 years later, here is Judge Fear. Did that require all of that rambling, all that lip flapping just to say essentially, hey, sorry, I showed the wrong picture. Here's the right picture. But, you know, just talking about toys. For some new news, the Four Horsemen will be having an in-stock sale next Monday morning. What is that? January 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Gonna be a few items here, starting with the Ninian Infantry that was the surprise drop back at Legion's Con. That will now be available to the masses. There's also the Garwitch and Gaspar figures. Originally released as a 2-pack, these will be single carded. Same thing goes for the Cosmic Legions 2-pack of AA20 and CC24. Seems to be a lot of numbers today. Again, these will be the standard versions, where they're gonna come all by their lonesome and without the bonus items that came with the exclusive 2-packs. They're also selling pre-built Armory Knights. Back at Legion's Con, you went through the line, you picked your head, you picked your torso, you picked your limbs, you built your knight. This will have a lot of the same options, but pre-assembled. It's just the knight in a packaging. What you see is what you get, but if you buy multiples, you can pop them apart, stick them together however you want. There's gonna be 10 different variations that you can choose from, and I think the first day, it's only one per customer, and then if it lasts past that, I guess it's a free-for-all. You just grab what you want. Then there's gonna be limited quantities of other recent releases. Figura Obscura, Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, who knows it. But I'm figuring if they say limited quantity, they're gonna go pretty quick. For something new, the Four Horsemen also announced their show figure for Toylanta 2025. This is the Artillery Team Leader, or ATL 25. Get it? Atlanta 25? That's clever. But what's tempting to me is a Legions figure in camouflage. Man, I've always known this, but you throw something in camouflage, it's just like, oh, okay, I'll take one. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. It looks neat. Gimme. They specifically announced that this is not an homage to any other franchise, any other characters from other companies, anything like that. But come on now. Doesn't it look like this guy would cause some kind of stops in the middle of streets and or avenues? Am I skirting around it? Now I'm daydreaming about other G.I. Joe inspired Legions figures. You know, I'm thinking Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow for sure. There's always those two, but Destro in the Legions format? They do point out that this figure will be available as a standard version down the road. So Toylanta is not the only way to get it, but the Toylanta version does have extra goodies just to keep its exclusivity. So if you like camo tusks, oh man, I have a few of these lined up. Pretty sweet. At some point in the past few weeks, McFarlane Toys snuck in some platinum editions for their DC Multiverse Justice League Task Force wave. I'm not even sure when it popped up. I went to the official site to search for something else, and then there they were in all their oddball glory. I mean, look at these things. I understand Task Force was a game from the mid-90s, so this should not surprise me, but I don't know if it's like specialty suits for different levels or if it's the actual environments reflecting in the figures. Superman and Batman sure seem like they'd be at home in a volcano or something, and then Flash and Aquaman are going through an underwater level? Maybe Darkseid's actually on Apokolips? My original gripe for the main wave is that they didn't go whole hog. They didn't go all the way with it. Sure, they got the pixelated 16-bit stuff on their costumes, the highlights, the logos, but then you get to the face and it's realistic, or well, it's DC Multiverse. It's got the regular details there. Like it's the comic book characters wearing a video game inspired costume, you know? I feel like the eyes and the mouth and the hair and everything should have been painted the same way. Then again, the sculpts are awful specific for that. You paint over it, you can still see the sculptor. And so I get it, but man, it has kind of a contrast there. I find myself looking at these a lot more than the main wave though. I guess for the bright colors, the insanity of it. But to nitpick this silliness, Batman has an actual flesh tone on his exposed skin here. But then you get to Aquaman, Flash, and Superman, their skin tones are like the rest of the color schemes. Well, I don't know, Batman has a maroon, yellow, and orange thing going on. Maybe that is a suit, or maybe I can think of that as a suit in the game, and then the rest are... I don't know what the hell's going on here. I don't know where these are available. I don't know if they're out right now. Just here they are. Woo! The rollout for the Storm Collectibles Storm Arena line is just chugging along. Slowly but surely. First, there was the prototypes for Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ken and Ryu back at Wonderfest in October. That's forever ago in toy terms. Then a few weeks ago, they announced more licenses for Storm Arena, like King of Fighters 98, Son of Ogre Baki Hanma, and Darkstalkers. I'm ready for that one. This week, they showed an official promo image of the Storm Arena Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ken and Ryu. Hey, that's awesome. That is fantastic, getting glances of what the line's gonna be like. But as I've said time and again, I'm not a super fan of fighting games. So seeing another Ken and Ryu are kind of just like, okay. Oh, I get it, different figures, different versions, different companies for different folks, but man, I imagine this is what it's like for non-Transformers fans seeing the constant barrage of Optimus Primes and Bumblebees. I hate Star Wars, why is there another Darth Vader? So for me, personally, my preferences, my needs, I am good with the Jada Toys Ken and Ryu. But I am super interested to see how these turn out. It's a new venture from Storm Collectibles. Sure, they've done the 7-inch for a little while now, but they have those internal skeletons, or at least they used to. It's been a while since I messed with Storm Collectibles, but the rubber overlay, this seems more traditional action figure. And the biggest thing, they're advertising this as true 1/12 scale. I want to test drive these, but only to see how they came out and what to expect with future figures and future lines, because like I mentioned, Darkstalkers is high on the list. It must be Halloween in January, because from here on out, we're gonna be talking scary monster types, starting with the Fresh Monkey Fiction Big Bad Workshop Operation Monster Force Primal Kilowog. You're killing me with these titles. Constantly. We've talked about the Kilowog. I even reviewed an early sample a few months back. The info was out there, the pre-orders were made, we were just waiting for the in-stock go-ahead. When that happened, I thought, hey, cool, here we go. There's Kilowog. What I missed was a stripped down version that came into stock at the same time. The one we had talked about is the Deluxe Night Hunter Kilowog, a collaboration with Furay Planet in order to bring veteran William into the Monster Force universe in some form or fashion. That came with a lot of part swap options. You had your base werewolf figure, you could pull things off, put on a jacket, put on pants, alternate heads, alternate hands, weapons. The Primal Kilowog does away with a lot of the extras for a cheaper price point. There's the alternate head and there's hands. to go with the base body. None of the other clothing options, none of the other weapons, nothing. So maybe Night Hunter can be the leader, and then you flank them with a couple of primals? Maybe? Options. Options are good. Like, say, getting another crack at the Mezco 1/12 Collective Nosferatu. Or at least I think it's another crack. This is all we have to go on at the moment. I believe it's the same sculpt as previous versions, but that eye is what catches my eye. The original had creepy, glossy black eyeballs. The Symphony of Horror drop had bright red. This new one teased has full-on pupil and iris details. And I think that may be the most terrifying of all, at least until they get to a whited out eye version, because that is my nightmare fuel. Like I said, the sculpt is very, very similar. It has the vein that forks off above the brow and then the various wrinkles. It just seems less defined, but that may be angle or lighting or something else. The casket door does seem the same. The opening's the same shape, the wood grains in the same patterns, but then you have some tentacles and some jagged stone blades of some kind. Now, I haven't seen the new movie yet, so I don't know if I'm missing something obvious, like, hey, that's from the new flick, or that's how it looks here or there. I just know that the original Nosferatu kicks ass. I can only guess this will do a lot of the same. All of that brings us to the Toys DNA Cursed Dead Kickstarter. The prototypes for these have been floating around for a bit now. I guess it's time to buckle down and get them produced. Going through the roster, it all starts with the basic drinker. Oh, isn't that how all these adventures start, huh? This is the figure that all the other offerings are based on. And as we've established time and again, that is not a bad thing. It looks great, and knowing the crew, it'll move great. Change out the head and give it a more organic, fleshy tone, and you have a djinn. It took me longer than I care to admit to figure out what the accessory was in the line drawing. And then, oh, djinn, it's his magic lamp. Another new head and bring in some vegetation tones and you have Gordy. It's awesome how adding some greens and browns allows the body texture to translate or transition into vines or stems. It's the pumpkin, it's in a patch. But then you go into full-on demon mode with hate and rage. And yes, I read the description in order to find out how to pronounce those names. You were expecting me to say hate and rage, huh? And to be honest, that's what I whispered out loud when I read them on a computer screen late at night in the office. It was just like, I hate rage. Oh, it's hate and rage. The deluxes also use that same base body, but it's deluxe. It comes with more stuff, like soft goods and add-on parts to change up the appearance of each figure. As usual, that also means higher price point. Deluxe, more stuff, more production costs. Dr. Crane is probably my favorite of these concepts, not just because it's hiding the base body, but it's a familiar concept. Well, yeah, okay, vampires and djinn and demons, sure, okay, familiar, I get it. But man, this also brings some cartoony colorfulness while still sticking within that creepy realm. Plus, this kind of takes it beyond a little bit with the full-on arm that goes over, and then the raggedness of the soft goods along with the burn marks. It brings a lot to the table. There's a lot to look at here. Because I'm just gonna come out and say it. Dr. Scante looks downright tame compared to Crane, but still neato, still looks good. Like you saw in the intro, the Crankle is a riff on the Krampus. And again, same base, but you throw some red and white soft goods on, completely different face, it changes it up. Because the Wendigo, or Wendigo if you're nasty, same concept. Change some things around, you can put it in a different display. And that's the vibe I get from this whole assortment. Kind of a jack of all trades wave. Yeah, there's stories attached to each of the characters if you go through the Kickstarter, but at the same time, it can be a blank slate. It's up to you. It's your world. Play in it. It's monsters. It's your displays. Put them in with your Marvel. Have them fighting Blade or Doctor Strange, Han Solo, Chewbacca, your Monster Force shelf, your Mythically, whatever you want to do. Just do it. I mentioned Dr. Crane being my favorite out of the deluxes, but I think the top of my list is the basic drinker. The body works for all of these characters, but I think it's the best under this head. Or maybe I've been doing a lot of Helldiving and Terminid territory lately, and while I've got Chargers and Impalers and Bile Titans under control, the Stalkers still kind of make my arm hair stand up when I hear that noise. I don't know what it is about the drinkers, but my brain goes to Stalkers. I mean, listen to this. Ooh. Now, picture this. Oh, and that's all I have. It's the first week of a new year. We're ramping up to Toy Fair. Things will pick back up soon enough. As always, special thanks to the Patreon, the No-Bots, the wind beneath my wings. Fly. If you watched the live stream from Wednesday where Veebs and I went over our top 5 for 2024, you know that I sprung my back 5 minutes before starting that stream. I picked up some rocks to put them in the yard to run out here, and then boom, it was like, ibuprofen, let's go stream. So if I seem off or stiff today, it's because of that. I'm still recuperating, I'm recovering, getting older, just don't bounce back like I used to. So I didn't get to the Robo skull. I thought, well, I did the live stream, I'm gonna take it easy the rest of this day and Thursday. And yeah, it's a little better, but still there, still, hey, remember me? I was kind of dreading walking out here and doing this, but as always, I should know better by now. It's been over 7 years. If I'm feeling down or blue or blah, talking toys is therapeutic. That's how it is for me. Even just coming out here, getting in front of the camera, going over all the news of the week, it takes my mind off things. And I walk out energized, jazzed up, even though I am walking back into the house to sit in front of the computer for a couple hours putting it all together. But still, it's like, okay, haha, I feel better. Thank you, toys. Thank you, action figures. That's why I don't get embarrassed in front of the camera or talking about toys with anybody out there, because you know what? Hey, I have a hobby that makes me feel better. There's people out there who can't fathom that level of joy. So, no. I'm not gonna apologize. I'm not gonna make any excuses. I'm an old man talking about toys on the internet. Playing, messing, cutting, displaying. Yeah. Hey, find you some of that this weekend. That's your homework. That's your mission. Go forth and be happy. All right. Bye.